Good day. I'm Constantine Polychronopoulos, Vice President at Juniper Networks, responsible for 5G products and technology. And thank you for attending our session on delivering end-to-end network slice orchestration and SLA in an ORAN Open RAN ecosystem. As we consider OPERAN, thankfully OPERAN appears to be a one-way avenue, but we're still at the very early stages of adoption. And therefore, there is a lot to be done by our community to make sure that ORAN proves to be a success, delivering the promise of 5G. So key tenets of success, obviously, include open ecosystem here. We have to work as a community to enable portability, interoperability across all ORAN components, both on the network stack, as well as on the RIC and the XApps are apps that make up the ORAN architecture. New business models, the efficacy of new revenue-generating business models that are enabled by ORAN is important for operators to accelerate adoption. And again, as a community of innovators, vendors, customers, we need to demonstrate the ability to offer new levels of optimization of spectral efficiency, the ability to optimize energy consumption, and of course, the capability of enabling new business models that generate revenue, as well as reduce costs for operators, both on the CapEx side, but predominantly on the OpEx side through automation. And automation is key. Is key not only because of the new complexities that are introduced by ORAN. We now have essentially the radio intelligent component functioning as an operating system of the radio, enabling the provisioning of new applications that address everything that I mentioned, right? Spectral efficiency, energy consumption, new business models, new optimization techniques, including some type of optimization. So being able to address simplicity, lifecycle management, operational simplicity, visibility through automation and control are going to be key tenets in the success of ORAN. If we take a look at where we are today with essentially monolithic mobile networks up until now, and where we want to be to deliver the promise of 5G, where unlike monolithic networks that look at all devices, all use cases, all customers as the same, we need to deliver device-specific, user-specific, use case-specific service level agreement and quality of service, full segmentation and security, high availability in its use case through a common infrastructure and through the enablement of end-to-end network slicing, whereby a network slice addresses specific use cases with strong SLA attached to its network slice, which is essentially fully virtualized networking, including the applications that make up the network slice. So let's take a look at the key challenges that we face not just in the world of ORAN, but overall in delivering the end-to-end network slice, a key tenet again for delivering the promise, the full promise of 5G. First of all, it's scale. We are faced with unprecedented requirements on delivering scalability across immense infrastructure that includes thousands of access points, potentially thousands of edge clouds, hundreds of regional clouds and national clouds, as well as hyperclouds, including the use of public clouds. Strict SLA delivered in an overlay fashion, in overlay networks, right, in virtual networking, with quality of service guaranteed, high availability guaranteed, and everything being software driven, enabling the provisioning of new optimization techniques, new business models on demand. End-to-end segmentation and security are critical, especially given that we're talking now about the notion of multi-tenancy at the level of virtual networking, whereby crossing between different slices is a possibility, a real possibility. And we need to guarantee that each slice is fully segmented, fully secured, and in some of the critical use cases, availability can reach the 6 nines, something that we have not really demonstrated that scale yet in the world of 5G. And finally, of course, the promise of network slice marketplace, whereby you can order a slice or you can subscribe to an existing slice on demand. Again, a new capability in mobile networks as we move to the full adoption of 5G. So these are the key obstacles, or the key challenges, I should say. Many of them have been addressed by innovative new solutions. And let me talk about the approach we're taking here to address the end-to-end network slice from the orchestration point of view, whereby a slice essentially can be as simple as a service chain, or as complex as a full-fledged operator, an MVNO. And at the bottom, we have the abstraction of the infrastructure, which includes the private clouds, thousands of edge clouds, regional clouds, national data centers, as well as the hyperscalers, the public clouds, right? So as we onboard such complex use cases in a highly distributed, complex, multi-cloud, multi-domain infrastructure, the issue of simplicity of management, lifecycle management, provisioning, visibility is key to the design, is key to the requirement, right? So an operator, a service provider, can onboard an MVNO, and the MVNO now has the requirement of provisioning their own slices, right? So we need to support that use case in a way that even though the provisioning, again, anchors at the service provider level, the management, the visibility is fully contained within the tenant, within the MVNO, which introduces new complexities to the service management and orchestration, especially as we talk about end-to-end. So the tenant has seemingly full control of provisioning, managing the lifecycle of their slices, yet the provider needs to, at all times, support the SLA attached to that tenant. And we support, again, from the SMO point of view, a tenant manager, as well as a service provider manager. So a service provider can have multiple tenants operating simultaneously on one shared infrastructure. A key part of the success for delivering end-to-end network slice with strong SLA attached is to design the SMO around the 3 semantic domains. And the 3 semantic domains are the access, the RAN, adapting the ORAN architecture, the transport, and the core. So if we look at the transport, it's not just the one transport. We have transport within the ORAN architecture, the mid-haul, for example, the backhaul, right? So these are 3 semantic domains that have multiple incarnations in a highly distributed infrastructure. So the end-to-end service orchestration has to account for dynamic onboarding, provisioning such complex use cases with multiple transport domains, multiple RAN domains, multiple core domains potentially across a highly distributed multi-cloud environment. That's the end goal. And stretching the SLA across these 3 semantic domains and their multiple incarnations in a way that consistently delivers the SLA is one of the largest challenges that we face. So at Juniper, for example, we have already enabled our transport to support end-to-end guaranteed SLA on multiple tenants. And we use similar technology to enable end-to-end network slicing in the mid-haul, as well as across the core, where the key functions of the core can be either shared or can be individually allocated to specific tenants. So they can be private or shared. And delivering the SLA across such disparate, complex use cases in a consistent way is a key objective of the design we're following. Going back to the ORAN and the need to support the success of ORAN, as a community, there is no question we need to address the open ecosystem to commit to interoperability and to testing platforms that allow us to demonstrate interoperability. And from that to agree upon on use cases that address network efficiencies, network optimization, energy efficiency, and new use cases that drive revenue as a community. And that will drive the necessary requirements that will be reflected in the ORAN specifications going forward. Again, we are well on our way to achieving that, but more effort needs to be expended by the community to really accelerate both the maturity of ORAN and the adoption of ORAN. That will get us to the point where we will have interoperable, portable X apps and R apps running on the radio intelligent controller that will really open the floodgate of new business models, new innovative ways of achieving spectral efficiency and addressing KPIs for mission-critical use cases. If we look at the approach we're taking at Juniper, again, we are committed to experience-first networking, which is really the North Star of the company-wide. We're focusing on simplicity and visibility that comes through automation. So that is key in enabling reduction of OpEx, right? Taking the complexity down to zero touch, if you wish, is the end goal. Of course, it's a long way there, but we're well on our way to delivering that in end-to-end network slice orchestration. Multi-cloud is very important to us. And I think it should be very important to the community because operators, as well as enterprises, because we're talking about both private and public 5G, will need to have the flexibility of leveraging the public clouds, the simplicity and the speed at which we can enable new use cases leveraging public clouds. At the same time, operators will need to have the ability to leverage or build out their own private clouds, right? So having SMO that supports multi-cloud environments, public and private clouds, and the delivery, the provisioning of such complex use cases through network slicing across multi-clouds is a key requirement for the approach we're taking, and I believe for the approach the community needs to take. Intelligent automation and optimization, again, delivered primarily through the radio intelligent controller, is the new opportunity that Open RAN brings to the market. And multi-tenancy is absolutely a key requirement. Multi-tenancy at a new level that has not been realized up until now. Again, that addresses regional slices, addresses national slices, very complex use cases, all of them coexisting on one shared infrastructure. And that takes us to the multi-access, right? Network slicing that can support use cases that can be mission critical or simply enhanced mobile broadband will need to be supported across different access media, not just 5G, but 4G, Wi-Fi, wireline. So these are very important requirements in delivering simple, seamless way of onboarding, provisioning, and managing network slices in an end-to-end fashion. And with that, I will conclude the presentation and thank you very much for attending.